In the moment last night, I didn't like the flow of the game. But then I watched it, and I slept on it, and I thought about it, and I went to the box score, and I'm like, don't be a hypocrite. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and lament all these threes, and then when we finally get teams that play defense and are physical, complain about the officials. The officials' job is not to make our viewing experience better. The officials' job is to call fouls. Roy Williams and Mark Few did not complain about the officials during the game. The players didn't. So how bad was the officiating? We're all being selfish. The game didn't work for me personally, so therefore it was bad. No, it was a great game with two defensive teams, and I never turned it off. Give me the rating for last night's game. I want to see how terrible it was. For everybody saying how bad the game was, let's go check the audio. Let's go check the rating. How was the rating for last night's game, John Goulet? Do you know?
I do know. Do you want to guess?
I bet you it did real well.
It did.
Well, how did it do?
14.5.
How was that compared to last year when they shot a bunch of threes and nobody fouled?
I don't have the exact percentage, but it's definitely up.
Okay. So my guess is if that's the number last night, it's up probably 20-ish%. Let me throw this out. So LeBron came out. Here was his quote last night. And I totally get this because when I was watching the game, I just want to give some context to this. When I was watching the game last night, I was like, God, the flow is awful. But LeBron came out last night and said, man, I can't watch this anymore. Man, I'd like to see these kids decide who wins the game. Man, bruh, SMH. Well, this is very interesting. LeBron, early in his career, his first 8 years, average year, he'd commit 165 fouls. In his last 6 years, when he's become the man, 130 fouls a year. When he's been slower physically and not as quick. So as he's less capable of defending, they've called less fouls on him. Interesting. So LeBron loves getting the call. Here's Michael Jordan, 250 fouls per year in his first 8 years. Michael Jordan, after that, when he became the greatest basketball player ever, averaged 150 fouls. So both LeBron and Michael Jordan have been given the star treatment in the NBA. As they got older and less capable of great defense, 35% fewer fouls called against them. Yeah, when you have the refs in your pocket, you don't want him to call any fouls. But Michael Jordan complained viciously, daily, nightly, every minute that fouls weren't being called against him. So Michael begged for fouls, complained that you didn't call fouls. So LeBron similarly thinks he's fouled on every play. By the way, Dwyane Wade came out and said this. This is funny. Dwyane Wade came out and said, yeah, man, put the whistles away. You do realize most free throws in a postseason game in NBA history. Now, Shaq is number one. That's because teams employed something called hack-a-Shaq. But LeBron is twice represented, and Dwyane Wade is in the top 10. So Dwyane Wade has attempted 25 shots in a game in the playoffs. I bet the flow wasn't good that night either. You can't do a 30-for-30 series telling me how good the Pacers' Knicks are when it averaged 66 free throws, and then tell me last night was bad basketball. What has happened is basketball has changed. Basketball is now about everybody's friends. Stars don't want to play on big Saturday nights. You can't touch anybody. Centers won't do a hook. Everybody wants to shoot threes. And everybody, when they get the sniffles, sits out of a game. Last night was two big, long, active, rebounding teams with great coaches, and none of them complained about the officiating. It didn't work for us, but it worked for the teams. Carolina creates fouls. Gonzaga creates fouls. And by the way, everybody in this tournament, Gonzaga and Oregon, were great offensive teams until they faced Carolina. Then they both shot 35%. That's what Carolina does. They foul you, and they bang on you, and they lean on you. Oh, here it is. The title game this year was up 21% from last year. And again, here's Mark Few talking about the refs, which everybody this morning is saying were terrible. Mark Few was coaching. He disagrees.
I mean, those were three of the best officials in the entire country, NBA, college, or anything. I thought they did a great job. I mean, these are two heavyweight teams going at it inside, playing really, really physical basketball. You still have to officiate the game of basketball, and that's what they did. I had no issue whatsoever. I thought they did a fabulous job.
Good for him. I really enjoyed last night.